But I was not in the mood to answer that now. He would end up being begging me for that. He wanted to listen. I would make sure for it. I didn't respond to him. I felt him beginning, his palm covered to my waist. My breath was held, but I didn't let it out. He slowly carries my back under his palms and slowly squeezing it tightly in his hold. I let out a gasp. He slowly slid his thumb under my shirt, tracing it slightly. I snatched my eyes shut, but nothing happened. He pulled me closer, if possible. He was surely dominating me, but I won't let him any longer. Tell me, who do you belong to? He asked. Only myself, I whispered back, and he squeezed it harder. Ending up, I pulled back a little to look at his eyes. Our lips were close to an inches. I looked at his soft eyes, and his lips were shivering. What are you doing? Claiming you as mine, he whispered. No. They pushed him and picked up mine. Where are you going now? Downstairs. You won't go anywhere. Stay in the room. Everyone will make fun of me, he said, and mumbled the last sentence. Now you're clearly overreacting. They started. Be it, whatever you call it, he replied. I'm going downstairs. Everyone will be discussing things about Dan engagement, and I am stuck here with you. He turned around. Taehyung, stay in the room. He was getting annoyed. I'm going. You keep and left the room. Taehyung, he groaned. He stayed in the room for a few minutes and then decided to join everyone. Oh, Jungkook, Jihyo winked. Jungkook ignored him and walked up to the sofa where Namjoon and Dan were sitting. Jungkook sat beside them. His eyes were shifted toward Tae. He was talking with Aunt. For a moment, their eyes met his. He signaled Tae to go upstairs. Tae shook his head and averted his eyes. Now, he's ignoring me. He doesn't care about my display. Jungkook thought and shook his head. Jia has blacked out my plannings. Dan groaned internally. Grandpa was looking at three of them, and Namjoon was lost in his thoughts too. What happened to all of you? Grandpa jolted them up out of their thoughts. Nothing, Jungkook said. Dan and Namjoon shook their head. Grandpa understood, heaving a sigh, and smiled. If you couldn't handle your partners, and you have found the right one, three of them were staring at Grandpa in surprise. Grandpa, you know better than us. Partners, they're so smart and unpredictable, Dan said. Jungkook and Namjoon's eyes were unintentionally shifted toward Taehyung and Jin. Grandpa was right. Their partners were indeed uncontrollable. I have called Eugene's mother. They didn't have any problem. Instant, they liked Namjoon so much. Norm said, Wow, Jib screamed. But Namjoon, we have decided that you and Eugene should meet once. Before finalize everything with Dawn, take her out tomorrow for lunch. Mom suggested. Mom, I have got an important meeting tomorrow. Namjoon said. Your dad can manage that for sure. Mom glowered at that. Namjoon, you go out with Eugene. I'll reschedule the meeting. Dad said. Jin-hyung, don't forget to wake me up earlier. I go with you to the embassy. Jeop said. Thank you, Jeop. Jin nodded. Jeop turned his head toward Taehyung and winked. Taehyung smiled and shook his head. Namjoon excused himself and went to his room. Grandpa too left after a few minutes, leaving Jungkook and Dan. Jungkook glared at Dan. He seems lost in thoughts. Dan, is there anything you don't like about Chia? Jungkook questioned. Dan shook his head and said, She might be totally opposite to whatever I wanted in my life partner. But still, there is nothing I dislike about her. If you don't marry her, Then I can talk to everyone. We still have things to handle. You can play enough tricks already. Don't waste your or her time. If you don't want to get married to her, Jungkook suggested. Sincerely, Dan thought for a minute and then asked, if you were me, what would you have done? If I was your shoe, like moved on, or the past, and has no one in my heart anymore, I would have married her without any tricks. Marriage is a beautiful bond. Give it a chance, Dan. Your tricks won't do any good for you. Go with the flow. Jungkook said. You have a point. Dan nodded. Don't worry. I'm not going to accept her with my heart, just the way a wife should be accepted. I'm finally getting married. I can't believe it, man. Dan laughed. Yes, you are. Jungkook patted him. You were going to push the already falling and damaged wall, but you didn't tell me that you were that damaged wall by yourself. Jungkook laughed. Dan elbowed him and then laughed at himself. How's everything you and that little white for years? Dan questioned. Don't call him little. He didn't like that. They shook his head. Are you still friends on? Dan raised an eyebrow. I'm his best friend after Jimin, Ain, and you. But I am. Jungkook laughed. You managed to make your place on that list. Quite an achievement, my boy. Dan teased him. Yeah, Jungkook's eyes automatically shifted toward Taehyung. He was following Ain with a ball in his hand. Ain was, and something would stand up. With quiet steps, she would hide between the things. Ain was getting that tough time. A small smile would creep across Jungkook's face. Jungkook glared at the wall clock. It was late at night. Where is he? He foamed. He looked at Ain, who was lying over him. He could hear her soft snore. He carefully laid down Ain on the bed and strode out of the room in search of Taehyung. The house was as silent as a grave. The lights were dimmed in the house except the kitchen. He might be there, he murmured, and walked up to the kitchen. Jaehoop was standing near the window with their back of the entrance. I pray everything goes well tomorrow. Taehyung took a sip of the soft drink. Jungkook pushed the hand of Jaehoop's mouth behind and pulled him toward him. Jungkook looked at him with wide eyes. Jungkook sighed. Jaehoop to go through his eyes and slowly remove his hand from Jaehoop's mouth. Jaehoop, please tell me our plan will work, Taehyung said. Jaehoop picked up that drink and left the kitchen. Taehyung foamed as he didn't get any reply for him. They turned and collided with something hard. He rubbed his head and looked up. You? He looked, and their eyes. But Jungkook snatched the glass for his hand and drained that soft drink in the sink. Taehyung's mouth fell open. He lifted Tae into his arm and stared out of the kitchen. Pull me down. I can walk. They suggested to get out of his hold. What if somebody saw us like that? Put me down, please. Be silent, Tae, or else you will wake up other by yourself. He started and climbed up the stair. They tightly held his arm. Open the door, he said once. They reached in front of their room. They carefully turned the knob as they entered inside and closed the door behind them. Without any noise, they glanced at Ain. She was sleeping. He walked inside the balcony, made Tae sit on that double-seater swing chair, and sat down beside him. They pouted and looked away. I was discussing something very important with him. Oh wait, where did Jungkook go? They raised an eyebrow. I shoved him away. He stretched and grabbed the hand they grown. Jungkook spread his finger and gazed his thumb on his palm. They looked at him and shifted his eyes toward his palm and asked, You turned into a palm reader now. Uh-huh. He nodded. What does it say? They questioned. He looked at the palm instantly. It says someone was waiting for you in the room. Neither did you listen to him, nor you care about him. They smiled at his word. What does that someone want now? Now, I have to tell you this also. Jungkook rolled his eyes. You have to figure it out.